Hello everyone, this is Stan, and today I've prepared a sloppy tutorial for how to develop tomography data into a 3D reconstruction. Now, I call this sloppy for two reasons. First is because I've tried to film this a few times, and I've run into a few mistakes along the way, so it's not foolproof. Sometimes you do have to start from the beginning and get it all worked up again, but as long as you're saving along the way, it could be okay. The second reason I'm calling it sloppy is that it's not 100% rigorous. So what I mean by that is that a lot of people look for like quantitative, atomistic details when they're doing a 3D reconstruction, and I'm not 100% sure that this will get you there. I'm not an expert of tomography by any means. I've used it as a tool for several of my projects, but I'm not. I don't know the ins and outs of the Fourier transforms that go into it, or the back projection correction. So what I do know, though, is how to get your tilt series to looking like a 3D reconstruction that can provide certainly qualitative information about the nature of your particle, the morphology and things like that. But it's not. I actually welcome any kind of advice from the experts in the field. If you want to leave a comment below or reach out to me to give some feedback, I'd really appreciate it. And perhaps we can, instead of having a sloppy tutorial in the future, we can have a refined, exquisite tutorial for future users. So anyway, let's get into this. So what you'll need is ImageJ with TomoJ as a plugin. You may also need a registration, a turbo registration, in order to do the multi-stack reg that we'll be using for one part of the tutorial. I also recommend BoneJ. I don't have it downloaded now, but perhaps throughout the steps I'll have it. BoneJ is a great way to visualize transparent particles. If you want like a semi-transparent particle, that works better than 3D Viewer, which is the automatic default plugin that comes with ImageJ. So to get started, we need to load in our data file. So what I collected here was an MRC file from SerialEM. SerialEM is an automated acquisition program. That's what's down here. This is the one we're going to be working with. This acquisition program, it just spits it out as a file that puts them all in order based off of their tilt angle. However, if you did a manual reconstruction or manual acquisition, you might be dealing with image files one by one. The way that I recommend dealing with those is to put them inside of a folder and number them 1 to 30 or however many you have. 1 being the lowest tilt angle, so something like -60 or -70. That's 1, and then you count up from there in whatever increment you have. Put that all into the same folder and drag and drop that folder into ImageJ. And that's what I'm going to do with this file here. Drag and drop, and ImageJ will take those files and read them. And there we go. So this is our raw data. And there are two things that probably pop out to you. The first is that it's very, very dark. The second one that might not pop out to you because of how dark it is the fact that the particle is misaligned. There's a lot of hopping and jumping around. If I wanted to use any one of these particles for the 3D reconstruction, it would look like a mess. We need to realign the tilt axis so that it doesn't move around. The particle doesn't move in the X and Y. So this is the particle that we're going to be focusing on, but let me try and help you see that. The first thing that we're going to do is adjust the contrast. There are two ways you could do this. You can use the brightness contrast, which I'm going to use here, and you do auto. And you can see that it works pretty well for one of the slices, but sometimes it runs into problems where it doesn't treat all the slices the same. And I think if you do like auto and apply, that can usually fix this problem. But I'll use this as an opportunity to showcase the other method that I use if this one isn't working so well. So you can go into you can go into process and enhance contrast, and then you can process all 71 slices of the stack, press OK, and now all of them should be within the same contrast level. So this worked pretty well. This we can close now. All right, so now that we've normalized the contrast a bit, what we'll do is we will do a registration. And what this is, we fixed one problem with the darkness, now we have to fix the other problem with the misalignment. And what this will do is take our particle and move or take the image and move them into similar positions based off of the particle triangulation. So we go into plugins, registration, and then you can do standard reg. If you just have regular registration, you can do that, or you can do multi-stack reg, which I'll have to do here because I don't have the standard registration. I think it's just called stack reg. Anyway, so you choose the file here. You're going to choose to line. We have to choose translation here. That's pretty important because the other two are going to start fiddling around with the angles and the scale. We don't want that. We just want the translation, the X and Y to move, so we don't lose those Euler angles. So we're not going to save the transformation file, not for this kind of a treatment, and we're going to press OK. Now you'll notice that I started this registration in the middle of the stack. The reason that I did this is because this takes a long time, and it'll go through slice by slice. With a file this big, it takes some time. And so what it'll do once it's done, it'll move the cursor back to where it started. So it's going to move first. It started in the middle. It's going to move from the middle to the left, and then back into the middle and to the right. And then when it's to the right, it's going to come back into the middle. So when it stops at the middle, you know that it's done. And the reason this is important is that if you move around this cursor while it's processing, you might end up applying the translation to the wrong slice. And that can lead to problems later on when you're trying to post-process it. So it's better not to touch it while it's doing its thing. And this will take some time. What I'll do is kind of Rachel Ray style. I'll cut ahead, or maybe I'll fast forward so that you can see it move through all of the slices. But for now, I'll just pause the... Oh, I guess I can't do a fast forwarding if I pause the recording. Okay, then I'm just going to keep recording. All right, and we're back, kind of, almost done. I just wanted to show you guys what happens near the end, so I caught it near the tail end. And I decided not to do the rewind thing because I realized that I would have to cover up the screen if I wanted to check out my email. So, yeah, here we are, just watching the end of this series. Oh, and there it goes. We're done. Okay, so see, now it's back in the middle. Went from the right to the middle, so we know it's all set and it's not moving anymore, and it's not doing any kind of loading or anything like that. So let's see how it did. Okay, so pretty good. Oh, there was a little hop step there, and it kind of just float up. And then here on this end, a few jittery ones, but overall not so bad. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to translate a few of these. So I'm going to go to transform, translate, and then I'm going to input the X offset or whatever you need to fix, preview that. Oh, maybe something like 200. Okay, no, just this one. Could probably do even a little bit more. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of help, you know? Just like all of us, you know? Can't, man and machine. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Maybe this is something like 300. Or 0 here. It's going to be 300 in the Y offset. It's funny, most of these seems like they're going to be some form of 300. Yeah, it looks pretty good. There seems to be some X drift, which is okay. We can correct that. And then there's this one. Maybe it's something like 100. So yeah, that's okay. So now it looks a little bit smoother, but like I said, there's some drift at the end here, and then there's also some X drift we can see across the series. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to isolate on the particles that we are interested in, and we're going to try and use that big chunk up here as another way to triangulate the axis. So we're going to want a little bit of extra background, so we can cut that out and kind of rely on that not being, or being like extra fudge space. And then we'll probably also want to do a little bit in this direction and this direction. And let's duplicate this stack. Duplicate the whole thing, and now we just have these particles, maybe a few more pop in later on, and then yep. Okay, so let's see what happens if we try to do the stack registration for this. Registration, there, translation, and we're gonna go. I was kind of hoping this would be a little faster. Oh, there it goes, now it's picking up. So in the meantime, what I recommend is you brew yourself up a nice cup of coffee, you know, maybe go chat with a couple friends, work on that publication you've been meaning to write for a long time, you know, get it submitted, get those, get all that information out there, and plan your success, you know. That's my motivational speech for today. Okay. And that's also for ImageJ. ImageJ wants you to be successful too. I would love to see your success. And if not, then we're just going to end this video, and it's going to be sad for everybody. And then I'll have to redo it again. But I think now this is the one. ImageJ, this is the one. Don't tell me it's not, because you were telling me earlier that it is. I think it's the one. Get back over there. Get over to the right. Come on now. Okay, and now let's see. Better. Much, much better. Wow. Okay. This is making me happy, because now what we can do is we can even further refine this, because it looks like it's kind of centering it more on that group of particles, but we're going to tell it, no. This is the particle that we want. All right, so we're going to cut out that other particle. Give it a little wiggle room. The X is just, it's very nice. And then that's a good cut. So we're going to duplicate this. And let's do one more registration and see how it goes. Translation. And this is going to be quick. I didn't start at the middle this time. I'm just so excited to see this succeed. All right. And here we go. ImageJ, let's see. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. You can see there's this little lift at the end. You know, I bet you Tomography can actually resolve that just fine on its own. But we're going to do one more trick, because I might as well teach it to you while we're here. So when things are aligned in one axis, what you can do is you can do a multi-stack reg based off of one element of the particle that you don't think moves around a lot. So I don't think this moves around very much, so I'm going to duplicate this. Again, getting smaller and smaller. I'm also going to duplicate the whole thing, so we can use this later, like a clean reference file. All right, for this stack, what we're going to do is we're going to plug in registration, multi-stack reg, but now we're going to actually use another feature of this, which is called, we're going to do the translation. I think this is actually number 3 that we want. 3 is going to be this pack here. And we're going to do translation, but we're going to save the transformation file. I'm going to put that right on the desktop so we know where to find it. And what this does now is if it transformed it right, yeah. I forgot one trick. Oops, okay, hold on, let's try it again. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna duplicate it again. Then we're going to take the, adjust the threshold so that only the particle is in the black. Or white, whatever color you end up making it be. Color or, I don't know, shade, grayscale. But you don't want to have too much background either. That's decent. So we're going to apply. We're not going to calculate for each threshold, each image. We're just going to calculate for, well, we're going to base it off of the one that we adjusted ourselves. Now, let's try a registration, a multi-stack registration. And we're going to do a translation on that one. Actually, I don't think this one I guess it exists now. Okay. And then we're going to save the transformation file. See that? Yes, we want to replace it because the old one was crap. All right. Oh, this is going to be nice. So now we have this transformation file all fixed up. What we can do is apply that to one of these guys. Registration, multi-stack reg. We're going to load the transformation file onto one of these two stacks. I want to kind of keep them both going. Translation, and we're going to go OK. We'll look for the transformation file. All right, and let's see how it looks. That's it. That's pretty good. Wow. Okay. Oh, that turned out better than I expected. So here's the regular one, right? And we'll see if we can catch it just at the right time. There's the new one. Let's see if we can catch it. So hopefully you guys can see the difference here. Oh, I didn't catch it at all. There. All right, so hopefully you guys can see the difference now between these two stacks. This one had more vertical drift, but this one is now fixed in place very nicely. Okay, so that means I'm very happy with this. So we're gonna save this baby. File, save as, oh, not a GIF. We're gonna file, save it as a TIFF. Save as TIFF. Yeah, let's do that. And then we're going to we're going to further crop it so that Tomography has less to work with. Okay, so we need to go down here to catch most of the bottom of the series. And then here for the top. Left and right are fine. The right can be pulled in a little bit more. Okay, duplicate. And one last thing that we have to do is we have to align the tilt axis with that which Tomography will use. Tomography will use a vertical one. You can realign it in Tomography, but I find it easier to just do this. Transform, rotate 90 degrees to the left. There we go. So now this is the beginning of the tilt series, and this is the end. That's our particle. Very nice. Okay. So now we're going to go into plugins, Tomography. we want to put in where we started, which was -70, I believe, and starts from the first image, increments of 2. We're going to say no history, and we're going to say okay. And here we go. Lovely. -70 to 70. Good. We confirm that the tilt angles are there. We want to make sure that we filled the blanks with not a number, and normalize with electron tomo. Tilt axis is at 0 degrees. That's good. Now for the reconstruction, we're going to do an iterative reconstruction. You have a couple choices here, ART, CERT, and OSART, and that kind of changes the algorithms that you're going to use for iteration. Again, I'm not saying that I'm an expert here, but I should probably check to make sure that I'm still recording. Yeah, good, I am. So I'm not an expert, so I don't know what the real distinction is here between them, but I know that you can get different results using them depending on the circumstance. So really, if you are having trouble with one, try doing another one. Number of iterations, we'll get to that one. We're going to want to keep the resolution when we go through these files. The thickness here is how tall your particle is, and that you should be able to assume based off of the images that you've collected. I'm going to put it as 200. I think that's going to give us sufficient back projection so we're not cutting off the nanoparticle. It's kind of, yeah, it's the height of your nanoparticle once it's in the 3D space. And then you can choose to use the GPU. My GPU, this is just on my Surface, so it's not going to be so great. So I'm just going to do the CPU. This is also a number that you can play around with if you're having trouble making your data converge. And then that's it for this. You don't need to do any pre-processing because we already did it. You don't need to align the tilt series because we already did that. And we did that manually. These I've never touched, so you don't have to do that either. And so once all of that's in place, you can just say reconstruction. Okay, I guess we can't just say that, so hold on, give me a second. Okay, so when you see an error like that pop up, usually what you need to do is just restart Tomo and it works. So I just did a quick check to see if it works, and voila, it does. Yay! And I closed everything except for the one that we want of interest. Okay, so what I recommend doing to test out your series and make sure that it actually converges on something that you want is to do a quick iteration, maybe 20, 15, however many you want, just to do a brief analysis and see if it'll work. So do that, click reconstruction, and then it will go. And it tells you an approximation. Remember this approximation because that gives you a good approximation of how long it will take to do more slides. So right now, 2 minutes. It's 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. Not too much going on. So let's see. If we wanted to do 200 iterations, it would be 20 minutes approximately. Maybe a little bit more than that. So I think I'll end up doing something like that for this data set. Kind of depends how my computer's feeling. Sounds like it's feeling a little feisty, so it might be able to do it. I know the build-up and the anticipation, it's just going crazy. Drum roll for a minute. Okay, we'll just, okay. It's topical. In 40 years when this is archived, it'll look back at this as a piece of history. Okay, so, uh-oh, that's not good. So the reconstruction was doing fine for the beginning, but then it started doing this little uptick up here, which I'm not so comfortable with. I think what I'll do is lower the relaxivity a bit, because this can end up just hooking up and waste the time that we spend trying to reconstruct. So, yeah, let's just try again. This is looking okay. The ending back projections are bad. Too many, I think our height's way too much. So we can go down to 150, that should be fine. But now the question is, what should we do about that? Let's try a relaxivity 0.08. And let's Let's just go for it. Let's just go for it. Let's just get into it. All right. Reconstruction. See, 20 minutes, not bad. So I think the maximum you can do is a 1,000. So I'm actually fine with hitting a fifth of that max. Maybe I'll do an overnight run or something later. But we'll get back to you guys. I'll stop recording now so I can go ahead and work on my computer a bit. But I'll be back in 20 minutes and show you guys what the results. Okay, so we got the data back, and this is what bad data looks like. So you can see it just kind of goes up until infinity to not converge. And 3D reconstruction looks like crap. So I'm going to play this game again and see if we can get it to converge. This series looks great, so I don't really know what's going on here, but we'll give it another shot. All right, good morning, and we're back. Let's see how our scan did. It looks like we finally got one that worked well, that it converged. And then the relaxation coefficient, I went really low. I went down to a tenth of what we were using before. And then the number of iterations, I only did 100. But look at that. There are ortho slices. So now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do trainable segmentation on this. I guess first we have to save it. So let's save this baby. File, save as TIFF. When you save it, it gives all the parameters that you used to do this. Relaxation coefficient, it's an important one. So you're just going to say save. And we will definitely need. We can close Tomography now. And what we'll do here, make it a bit bigger so I can actually move it around the screen. Yep, there we go. We're going to go to plugins, segmentation, trainable segmentation. I guess it's this. What is this? Loading Weka properties? Oh, there we go. For some reason, it's under deprecated. So we're going to do segmentation, deprecated, trainable segmentation. There it is. What a strange thing. Okay. So what this will do, like we did with you want to start with, be on a slice that has your particle. So again, midway through somewhere. And what you're going to do, we're going to select the region that our particle is in and say that that's class 2, and then where our particle is not and say that that's class 1. And then you're going to train the classifier and see how does it do. Oh boy. Usually doesn't take this long. Okay, let's try that again. Plugins, segmentation, trainable. Oh boy. Okay, I'm going to try restarting it. All right, I guess I'm just gonna let it sit for a bit and hope that something comes out of this. Okay, I'm gonna go get ready for the day. Okay, so after a hard day at work, I realized that there is a way that I can still do this. The classifier didn't work. I let it run for like, 8 hours and still didn't run. So what I'm doing now is I team viewed into my home PC and I'm running it there. I loaded up the file in there. Okay, and we're gonna go to a slice. Folks, I apologize. This looks like trash, but sometimes if the shoe fits. So there it is, the option for trainable segmentation. I'm gonna do the class here. This is gonna be class 2. That's the stuff we want to keep, and then this is class 1. This is the stuff we want to remove or switch to black. We're gonna train the classifier, and that's how it's done, baby. Yeah, that's how it's done. You just show that red that's what you don't want, and green is what you do. And you can fiddle around with this to try and make things suit your fancy. So I can see right up here, there's a little bit of green that's being selected out there. There's some green up here that might be not what we want, but it's okay. We'll move on from there. So we're gonna apply the classifier to the file, which is on the desktop right now. Here. And it's going. So you can see how long it's going through all of the images. Oh, this should be quick. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna leave this going while I guess I prep my dinner or something like that. Yeah, okay, see you soon. And it's done, great. So here's the result. Let me scroll through it and there's the particle. Yep. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I hate eating on the mic. There. What we're gonna do, we're gonna load this back into my computer here so that we can see it better. So I'm gonna save it as a TIFF. Please move. Great. Okay. And we're going to do a little file transfer. That easy, huh? Okay, so we can just log off of that. And load this up here. Voila. Okay, so now what we're seeing is like a top-down ortho slice image of that. What we're going to do is we're going to load this into 3D viewer, which, by golly, I hope works. Okay, so we're going to do this. Say okay, and there's the particle. Bada bing, bada boom. It's done. So you can see there's some areas of back projection that are appearing. The way that you remove these is by you can take do a little cleanup. So you take this drawing tool here, this loose drawing tool, and you can kind of go around town like that, and then probably do like another big circle around like this. Close it off, and then say fill selection. And the fill selection will delete all of those things. Looks like there's another floating chunk here. We can fill that selection. And then this is a floating chunk. This is a floating chunk. And these corrections are also being made to the classification file. So I recommend saving your classification file first in case that you make an error in one of these removals. All right, so there we go. Here's the particle. And now what we can do is we can make a quick vid of this. What I'll do is also show you how to change the colors, so we can edit, change color. We won't use the default color. This is some sort of cadmium, so we'll make it like a cadmium selenide. So some sort of orange would be probably good. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. And then we can hold it like this and do a 360-degree rotation. Oh, not this. All right, so when you do the 360-degree rotation, it records a portion of the screen. It looks like it's recording it somewhere up here. So let's try that again. Sometimes this just doesn't work. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. But hey, it's done. So great. So that's how you take a tilt series and you bring it through to make a 3D reconstruction of your particles. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, I guess I left BoneJ out, but if there's enough demand for that, I can make that. But BoneJ's fairly straightforward. It's like a 3D viewer, but just a little more advanced. Yeah, that's how you make a 3D reconstruction using ImageJ, TomoJ, and all of its plugins. So thank you for watching.